What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I am here to talk about my predictions for what UFC contenders and big names will have kind of a downfall or a little bit of a fall off or a drop off, whatever you want to say. Guys that I think are going to drop down the rankings, maybe lose a couple of fights, lose some of their standing in the division, and just kind of be looked at differently at the end of 2026. Obviously, we are getting closer and closer to the start of the year. That's why I have this screen up, man, because we're only a couple of weeks away. And I think this is a good video to talk about, before the year starts, of what guys I think are going to have a little bit of a drop off, dude. All right, man, let's get into this. Starting off, I'm not going to start in the flyweight division. I'm going to go up to the heavyweight division. And this may be a shocking start to the video, but I think Alexander Volkov is not going to remain the #1 contender at heavyweight. I don't think he's going to get a title shot. I don't think he's going to win the belt. I do think that this old man Glover Teixeira type of run will come to an end in 2026. And it's sad, bro, because it's cool to see. Like, it's not this hype of like a prospect coming up the division. It is Volkov, who we've had around for fucking ever, but it's still impressive to see the run that he's been on. The fight against Cyril Gane, he got fucking brutally robbed, gets the favor returned against him against Shelton Almeida. I understand he did more damage, but I feel like getting held down for fucking 13 or 15 minutes, it's just very hard for me to be like excited about this guy getting a title shot. And I think going into 2026, the UFC, if I know them as well as I know Big Baldy Dana White, he does not want to give Volkov a fucking title shot, dude. Do you seriously think Dana White will put paramount money into a press conference? What's up, guys? We got Volkov versus Aspinall 2. The first fight lasted 3 minutes. This time, it's gonna last longer. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not selling a pay-per-view. So, I think the UFC is gonna throw fucking Waldo Cortez Acosta at this guy. I think that they will do whatever it takes. Maybe throw Alex Pereira at him. Maybe they'll say, hey, listen, kid, if you beat Gable Steveson, we'll give you a title shot. You know what I mean? They're going to try some wacky shit this year. And I do think it's going to work. I think Volkov is, past his prime. He has improved, but I think physically he's still a bit slow and plotty. His takedown defense is still not really there. He does have good grappling off his back, good jiu-jitsu. We've seen some improvements in that aspect. And obviously on the feet, he's always going to be super dangerous. And very sneaky with the game that he has. He's kind of like a Jan Blachowicz type of underrated, like just crafter. You're not going to really piece him up unless you can knock him out. So I think Volkov, while I am happy for him and I do think that he deserves a big fight at heavyweight now, I think the UFC is going to do everything in their power to slime him out. So I think by the end of the year, this dude is going to be fucking number 4, number 6, number 7, something like that in the weight class. That's my pick for heavyweight. Let's move on to the light heavyweight division, where I actually have two predictions. Two guys that I look at that top 15 and I say, you know what? I do not think they will be ranked this highly by the end of the year. First one we're going to discuss, I'm going to throw Agent 47 Bogdan Guskov in here. I think that people fucking forget that this guy lost to Volkan Oezdemir not that long ago pretty easily. And I think that there is guys that he can beat in the upper part of the weight class. Jamal Hill immediately comes to mind. No, I'm not doing the footwork oiled up impression of Jamal Hill. I just can't. I'm just not ready to have the feet cam happening. But regardless of that, I think you guys agree with me that Bogdan Guskov would probably beat Jamal Hill right now, as they both looked in their last couple of fights. He had a close fight with Jan Blachowicz. Like, I understand why it was a 10-8, but at the same time, you lost 2 rounds to Jan Blachowicz, and that's not a bad thing. But what I'm saying is he's pretty lucky to come away with that 10-8 when judges don't really give him out that regularly, when I feel like they should, honestly. When you look at some of these fights, it's like, what the fuck do I have to do to get a 10-8 in the UFC? But that one kind of helped him out a little bit. He does not have a loss on his record now, even though he got dropped at the end of that 3rd round, lost that, first and 3rd round. So with Bogdan Guskov, he's in a weird spot where I could see him getting another fight up the rankings. I don't think they'll make a rematch with Jan Blachowicz. I don't think we need that again. But I honestly feel like, I don't know, Bogdan Guskov, like, he has these weird moments of getting outstruck and just kind of like not looking that good against basically every single person he fights, and then he hurts them. So I think if somebody can get in there that can hurt him really bad, I mean, I think Volkan Oezdemir beats him again. I think that is not really a ridiculous take when you rewatch that first fight. Bogdan Guskov got hurt pretty bad and got subbed. And I think that there's a couple of guys coming up that might be a problem for Bogdan Guskov, and maybe he gets a fight up the rankings against Jamal Hill, but then at that point, you're getting knocked out by Ankalaev, Yuri, Oberg. I think all of those guys beat Bogdan Guskov pretty definitively. And like I said, I think there's some guys coming up that I wouldn't actually be shocked to see him lose to. I think that he's on a good run. He has good power, good straight punches, but he is there to be countered. He can be pushed back. And I think that his grappling, it's decent. It's a good aspect to his game. He does have some submissions. He does have some good jiu-jitsu. But I think that could be exploited by a really talented light heavyweight like fucking Jimmy the... No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, that's my pick. I think Bogdan Guskov, right now he's ranked like number 10. I think he'll be number 15, number 14. Maybe just outside the rankings, depending on what happens at 205. But this next one, though, I am very certain of this. And I feel bad for this guy because it's not really his fault, but Lord have mercy, dude. This guy's not going to be top 5 by the end of the year. Khalil Round... Darius, what are you doing in the top 5, Darius? I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, dude. Khalil Roundtree, your time has come, brother. Like, I just feel like Khalil Roundtree is going to get fucking smacked, dude. Like, he has taken so much damage in his fights against Alex Pereira and against Yuri Prohaska. And it's fucked too, because I think the perception of him is really not his fault at all. I think Khalil Roundtree is an entertaining guy. I think he has a very good game, especially on the feet. I love watching Khalil Roundtree fight. He's super quick. He's super explosive. Big power in the hands. Nasty calf kicks. We don't really see that a lot. But there's things that just make me like, bro, this guy's not actually top 5. Number 1, we have not seen this dude grapple at all in any of his fucking fights. Alex Pereira, striker, he wins 1 round, then he gets walked down, mogged, and brutally finished, takes a year off because he's been beat up so badly. Then he fights Jamal Hill, blobbing around the cage, just fucking doing this for 5 rounds, getting his legs chewed up. Not a single fucking grappling exchange in the fight. In Baku as well. Fuck you. I wake up at 4 a.m. to watch this shit. And I pick Jamal Hill. Fuck you. Then, Yuri Prohaska. Again, no grappling involved whatsoever. Joe Rogan on commentary going fucking mental. And that's another reason why I feel like this Khalil Roundtree downfall is about to happen. And dare I say, I can sense a big switch up coming. Because these commentators genuinely act like this dude is fucking prime Anderson Silva on the feet. They dead ass everything this fucking guy does. I mean, he's just the elite of the elite. He's just so much faster and better than all these guys. And then he wins 1 round, then he gasses out, then he gets finished. That's what happens when he fights the top 5 level guys at light heavyweight, except for Jamal the Blob Hill. Again, fuck you, bro. I'm sorry. I like Jamal Hill, but dude, come on, bro. And for that reason, I think that Khalil Roundtree has this perception as, man, he's a fucking top 5, top 4 light heavyweight, dude. He had a competitive fight with Alex Pereira. He had a crazy fight with Yuri Prohaska. But realistically, those are matchups that he's supposed to do okay in. They are pure strikers, dude. And I know that light heavyweight doesn't necessarily have any, like, crazy grapplers in it. We're not talking about a middleweight division where there's Anthony Hernandez and Chimaev and, you know, same with welterweight. I understand that. But at the same time, it's like this is a one-dimensional explosive striker that has like a round and a half of cardio in him, and then he slows down and then he gets beat up, and he's taken so much fucking damage. He's been chinned by Johnny Walker. He got chinned by fucking Kudalaba, I'm pretty sure. Got absolutely fucking smashed by Kudalaba. Destroyed by Alex Pereira. Bit like crazy bad damage happening to the eyes. Then, same thing against Yuri Prohaska. That last round, like the last half of the 3rd round, that Yuri Prohaska walked him down. I have to go for this, you know, this was necessary, you know. Beating him up with the uppercuts, the elbows in close, dropping him with that 1-2 lead hook, flat, like face planting Khalil. I'm sorry, dude, that damage is going to catch up to you. And I think if he fights an Azamat Mozarkanov next, he's getting flatlined. He's getting sent down the division. I think that, you take the wrong fight, dude. Fucking Johnny Walker, Dominic Reyes, these guys, I think these guys can chin Khalil Roundtree. I think these guys either get chinned by Khalil Roundtree in round 1, or they pull him into a big exchange and chin him. Like, I think Khalil Roundtree is 1 or 2 bad fights away from being Dominic Reyes and being Johnny Walker, bro. That's how I look at him, where you go, man, this guy used to be something big in this division, and now he's like a chin or get chin fight. I really believe that. I think Khalil Roundtree, and I don't even think Khalil Roundtree has the grappling game of like a Johnny Walker. I know that sounds goofy, but we've seen Johnny Walker at least be able to sub some people and deal with some weird grappling matchups like Paul Craig, whatever it is. I know Khalil Roundtree beat him as well, but you know what I mean, dude. I think that Khalil Roundtree is going to have a little bit of a downfall this year. I do think he's going to drop down the rankings to that 7-8 spot in the division where he was before he fought Alex Pereira. And I think that he's just a victim of circumstance. Again, I like Khalil Roundtree. I find him very entertaining, but I think that short notice title fight took a lot of damage and took a lot of mileage off his career, but also put him in these conversations where he's only allowed to fight, you know, Yuri, Ankalaev, Mozakhanov, Blachowicz, all these type of guys where, you know, yes, you beat Jamal Hill, but then the rest of these guys, I don't think he beats them, and I think he gets KO'd in these matchups. So that, to me, all comes together where I think we're going to see the Khalil downfall this year, man. It is what it is, dude. I know he's fucking Arkham Batman, dude. I know, dude, what are you saying, man? He beats people like they owe money, man. But that's my opinion, dude, all right? Let's move on to the middleweight division. Now, this is one we can all agree on. This is one we all want to see in the middleweight division. Baisangur Suzakayev. This guy's Biggie Cheese build is pissing me off. This dude's getting fraud checked this year. 110 fucking %. Bro, this dude is the 2026 Shara Bullet. You're welcome. I've read the script. I had a great meeting with Hunter Campbell and Sean Shelby and Dana. I went over the script for 2026. The Brian Ortega storyline is going to go crazy. Let me just say that, dude. Just wait till March 2026, guys, for the Ortega storyline to kick off. But, dude, I just don't rate this guy at all. This guy's blobbing around the fucking octagon, smiling, emoting, fucking around. And I think he's going to get shot up the rankings because he's Chimaev's boy. And he's undefeated and he has a foreign last name. And he is good. I think he has talent. I think he has really quick hands. I think he has great grappling. But this guy is begging to get chinned. Like, he's fucking around so hard. And I think when he stops fighting the Eric Mechanicos and short notice Eric Nolan, whatever the guy's name is, you know, who was good and did rock him pretty badly as well and did pretty well considering the notice and being upper weight class. I think when this guy gets in there with someone genuinely crafty and talented at 185 and not ranked, I'm not saying, oh, if he gets up in the rankings and he fights Robert Whittaker, he's going to get fraud check. That's not a fraud check per se. I'm talking an unranked middleweight this year will beat this dude. I don't know who it is. I don't know the exact name. I'm getting prelims. I'm getting, you know, he's a minus 600 favorite. He gets fucking finished. He gets KO'd. And he's like smiling after the KO happens, kind of like wobbling around. That's the vibe I'm getting. I think Suzakayev's going to end up on a when trash talk goes wrong type of video in 2026. I think this fraud check's going to happen. Let's move on to a ranked 185 contender that I think when you do the mathematics, this guy's time has officially passed of pretending to be a top 5 middleweight. Dude, man, I can't wait to see. Bro, Kaya Baralho, dude, something about this guy's face just pisses me off. And seeing him lose to Nastini Mavov was fucking amazing, dude. And I think that he does have great fight IQ. He's a great grappler. He's a decision machine. And I think that he can win a 3-round fight against most of the top 15. But I think he loses to Rainier Derrida. I think he loses to Robert Whittaker. I think he loses to Sean Strickland. I think he loses to Israel Adesanya, these type of guys. I think his best chance to be in that upper echelon is fighting Adesanya, right? That is probably the best chance that he has. If he can take down Adesanya and out-grapple him, I think that's the best guy that he has a chance to take down and submit or use his grappling against, because Rainier Derrida, I don't think that's going to work very well. I think he'll land some good boxing combos on the feet against Rainier Derrida, but then he'll kind of get goofed on a little bit and slow down a little bit, or maybe wear some damage and kind of get out scrambled, get out positioned, because Rainier Derrida is just a crazy talented grappler, and he has a lot of physicality advantages and good gas tank, kind of push the pace when he's in control of that, using those knees to the body, using the clinch, all that type of stuff. And I think Robert Whittaker schools this guy. I think Bobby Knuckles fucking schools this guy, dude. Those are the 3 guys I could see him fighting this year. And I think 2 out of 3 of them beat him. So just based on pure mathematics, Kyle Baralho, in my opinion, he's going to be ranked number 10. he's gonna be ranked number 11. Like he's gonna be in that kind of Jared Cannonier. He's not Jared Cannonier, kind of that Paulo Costa spot where he's like, he slips down the rankings a little bit, but low-key, if he gets given an unranked random, he will absolutely mog them. Like, Kyle Baralho is talented, but for me, I just don't think he's in that same discussion as Anthony Hernandez and Sean Strickland and Nasruddin Imavov. I just don't think he's on those guys' level. He got 50-45 by Imavov. Like, maybe a 49-46 if I remember correctly, but I don't rate him that highly. So I'm putting Baralho as one of my downfalls at 185. Let's move on though. Let's talk about the welterweight division. Now, some of these I'm very excited about, like the Suzukaev downfall. I'm going to be there in the suit. Well. You know what I mean? Just like when we predicted the Shara Bullet downfall, the Bo Nickel downfall, we predicted all this. But then some of these, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong, okay? And this is nothing personal. In fact, this personally hurts my feelings to say, but I have to do it. I have a bad feeling for Joaquin Buckley this year, dude. I have a bad feeling that the Joaquin Buckley title run is not happening this year, man. I like Buckley. I really enjoy the activity, the fact that he tries to get in there and, make stuff happen in the division. He calls people out. He makes matchups. He promotes himself. He hypes himself up. There's a lot of things that I personally am a fan of Joaquin Buckley because of all these things. And he's got big power. He's got good, big power, explosive, He's got good cardio. He can push the pace. He can go crazy. He just has no takedown defense. And I want to see him make improvements, but I think the next matchups he's gonna get are really tough, dude. He's calling out Shavkat. Do not fight Shavkat, bro. Like, you guys know I'm a Shavkat hater. Shavkat fucking smokes Joaquin Buckley, in my opinion. I'm just going to keep it a buck, dude. I no pun intended. I think Shavkat smokes Joaquin Buckley, so don't call him out for that, please. I think, you're not going to get the easy matchups that a fucking Mike Malott is going to get. Mike Malott's going to get Gilbert Burns next. You know what I'm saying? Mike Malott's going to get fucking Gilbert Burns and then probably Colby Covington. And then, they're going to give him like fun, easy matchups up the division. You are getting fucked by the UFC, dude. You're going to get Sean Brady, who's pissed off and will be grappling from day one. From the second the bell rings, he's shooting a takedown with his little zesty knee pads on. I think Sean Brady out-grapples Joaquin Buckley badly, dude. I hope I'm wrong. I think Joaquin Buckley has the explosiveness and the athleticism and the determination to really make those improvements. But you're fighting Bilal Muhammad. You're not winning that. Sean Brady, I'm not picking you to beat that guy. Fucking Shavkat, brother. You are not beating Shavkat. And dude, I'll be rooting for you, bro, but I'm just going to say it like it is. Those three matchups, I think you get finished, bro. I'm going to just keep it a stack. All right, man? And like I said, I don't think the UFC is going to give this dude any favors in terms of matchmaking. They tried to get him beat by fucking Ruziboyev. He literally got ranked, and they were like, all right, here's an unranked, dangerous 6'5 middleweight. Have fun. That is not the moves of a company trying to get you W's, bro. So for me, I worry for Joaquin Buckley in 2026. I worry about the matchups he's going to get based on how the Usman fight went and how the Wonderboy fight went as well, to be honest. But regardless, I hope I'm wrong. Let's move on to the lightweight division. And this is another one that, I don't want to see this, but I'm just looking at how things are falling. And I think that this guy has fallen into a different role in his career. You either, I don't know how to put this in UFC terms. Mateus Gamrot, you are now Beneil Dariush. That's the only way to describe it. Mateus Gamrot, you are now Beneil Dariush, basically. So I think you're going to 29-28 fraud check guys that don't deserve to be ranked in the top 10. I think you're going to have some fun, scrambly Apex fights. And I think you're going to get chinned a couple times by like dangerous, explosive, top 5 level guys coming up. You know what I mean? I think that fucking Manuel Torres, if that fight is real versus Mateus Gamrot, might be raps for you, brother. You know what I mean? For SZM, might be raps for you, brother. You know what I mean? These type of fights, I don't like it. I think Mateus Gamrot is going to be forced to become a gatekeeper to the top 7, to the top 8. That type of role. Similar to a Beneil Dariush, like I said. He gets dropped every fight. He can scramble his ass off. He will fight anyone, anywhere. And, win or lose, he's always going to have respect from the hardcore fans for what his skill set is and for the guys that he's fought, that he's beat, that he's lost to, you know what I mean? He's not scared to fight anybody, anywhere. And for that, Mateus Gamrot does deserve a lot of respect, especially for taking the Charles Oliveira fight on short notice. These big bad marauders like fucking BSD turn that shit down. But Mateus Gamrot stepped up. The badass that he is, dude. So put some respect on the gamer's name. That being said, bro's going to be ranked number 12 or 13 in the division by the end of the year. That's my, it is what it is, dude. All right, man. Next one to talk about. This is also in the lightweight division. And these guys have a little bit of history, but dude, the end. It can't go on like this, mate. It can. Leave the football before the football leaves you. You know what I mean? How else do I put this? Dan Hooker's going to lose to BSD, bro. And this, listen, you can put me in the edit when this happens if I'm wrong. Ready? I'll start the intro clip right now for the edit. Dan Hooker is going to lose to Benoit Saint-Denis. He's going to get demolished by Benoit Saint-Denis. And then, boom, he wins somehow. But no, I seriously think he's going to lose to BSD. I think that's a really rough matchup. Quick turnaround. Took a little bit of damage against Arman Sarukian as well. It would be one thing if that submission was he just got held down and subbed, similar to what happened against Islam Makhachev. If that was the case, I would say, you know what? Dan Hooker actually has really good ability to cause damage in close. He has good elbows. He has the guillotine, which we've seen Benoit Saint-Denis end up in again and again and again against Dustin Poirier. And maybe Dan Hooker can latch it up, right? Maybe he can get the submission because he seems to actually be able to a little bit more to get a submission in the UFC than a Dustin Poirier, especially with that guillotine, right? But I'm sorry, dude. Dan Hooker's so slow on the feet, dude. Like, BSD is not this quick, dangerous striker, but he's going to look like it against Dan Hooker, and I'm going to have to pretend that BSD is good. That's just what it is, dude. I think BSD is going to absolutely maraud Dan Hooker, walk him down, probably end up in some sort of guillotine attempt, take him down, get on top, maybe like a face crank submission, or just ground and pound TKO, and Dan Hooker kind of, he stands up. He's like pissing blood. He stands up. The crowd's kind of booing type of thing. I really feel like that is what's going to happen to Dan Hooker at UFC 325. He may not fight again for the whole year. He may take some time off after 2 back-to-back close fights that ended like that. Or maybe he comes back at the end of the year, and I think he's going to get another rough matchup. I could honestly see them he comes back for the MSG card at the end of the year and he gets someone crazy like Fares ZM or fucking, somebody like that. One of these guys. Maybe Chunko. Maybe he gets John Pork. Oh my God, I'm a genius. Oh, fuck, dude. Dan Hooker, hold on. Dan Hooker loses to BSD. Takes like the rest of the year off. He's now ranked number 8 or 9 in the division, maybe 10. Drops down a little bit. Things shuffle around here and there. He's around 10 or 11 in the division. End of year MSG card. Dan Hooker versus John Pork. That would actually be a fucking sick fight. That would actually be a really, really good matchup. I think that'd be sick, especially with Islam and Khabib in John Pork's corner, and Dan Hooker hates those guys. I think that would be actually really fucking cool. I hope that I'm right about this. But yeah, I think Dan Hooker's going to drop down the rankings pretty drastically this year. I think he's going to take a bad loss to BSD. And yeah, may not come back for the whole year, may retire, or come back end of the year for a fight like that with somebody unranked. That is my prediction for Dan Hooker's 2026. I think that's really accurate, honestly. Like, I can picture that very clearly. But let's move on to the featherweight division. And this is one that people are kind of torn. Like, some people may say, like, how can you have a downfall if you haven't done anything in the UFC? But I think Patricio Pitbull will not be ranked by the end of 2026. Like Dan Ige, that to me has always been confusing, that Dan Ige is like this, dude, Dan Ige is a problem, bro. Dan Ige by KO. Like, people deadass picked confidently Dan Ige to beat Patricio Pitbull. I would not pick Dan Ige to confidently beat anybody, dude. Like, straight up. And I like Dan Ige. He's entertaining, but he is the biggest, like, gatekeeper to the top 15 I've ever seen. Like, he is on some Neil Magny shit at featherweight. So I don't know how people could be so confident in him, but I guess I've had some dumb predictions as well. But with that being said, I just don't rate that win that highly. And I don't think Yair Rodriguez has ever looked as dominant as he did against Patricio Pitbull. Like, even against Josh Emmett, Yair Rodriguez got dropped. Besides, the rest of the fight was pretty dominant. But Patricio Pitbull, I feel like Yair Rodriguez just absolutely schooled this guy and made him look like he has no business being in the UFC. So when I add those two up, and this is the biggest thing for me, and this is, you've seen this as a running theme, but do you seriously think the UFC gives a fuck about Pitbull versus Volk? No. It's the same with Aljo. I like Aljo, but Aljo's sitting on the sideline going, guys, I deserve a title shot, man. I want a number one contendership fight. Who is going to tell this guy that the UFC does not want to see this dude anywhere near the fucking belt? You're not getting an Evloev rematch. You're not getting Lopez. You're not getting Yair. Like, you're going to, at best, you might get Lerone Murphy. Even then, I don't think you're going to get that unless Evloev just can't fight and maybe they do Lerone versus Aljo in the UK. But even then, they don't want you to win that. They want Lerone Murphy to win that. They do not want you fighting for the belt, brother. They don't give a fuck about you, dude. And I feel bad because Aljo is one of the most underrated champions of all time. But I think Patricio Pitbull is going to get that Aljo treatment. What's the guy got to win? Yeah, congratulations, kid. Here's Kevin Vallejos. Yeah. After that, yeah, you can fight Merab, kid. We're bringing Merab up to beat you, kid, and then we're sending him back to... They're just going to throw the worst fights possible at this guy. They're going to give him Losine Keita again. They're going to give him fucking Kevin Vallejos. They're going to throw Jose Delgado. They're going to throw whoever they can at this dude that they want to be a big name. They want to be ranked to get rid of Patricio Pitbull. And I don't think he beats anybody in the top 10 to kind of get away from that kind of area of the division. So when I put those two and two together, I think Patricio Pitbull is going to get a really nasty unranked matchup this year, or someone low down the division. Again, Kevin Vallejos comes to mind. I really feel like that's a possibility. And I think he's going to get fucking finished at some point in 2026, drop out of the top 15, and, you know, maybe chase one or two big fights and maybe retire. I think that's what's going to happen for Patricio Pitbull in the featherweight division. The next guy to add on here, this one really hurts, bro. I forgot about that. No, I forgot about this next guy while I was making the video, man. Arnold Allen, bro. I just think he's going to lose to Gene Silva, dude. I just think he's going to lose to Gene Silva. He's going to be down in the top 10. He's not going to be top 5 anymore. You know, his last win was Giga Chikadze by decision. I think the huge layoff, the damage that he's taken in some of his fights, he's not necessarily a finisher. He's probably going to have to win by decision against Gene Silva. And I think that Gene Silva against these guys that are orthodox when he's a southpaw, I believe it's the other way around, something to do with that matchup. I've seen a lot of people discussing the way that these guys match up, and I think most people are in agreement that Arnold Allen loses to Gene Silva, and it may be a fucking highlight reel KO. And we all love Arnold Allen. We are all Arnold Allen. We are all around the herds turning into Arnold. Yeah, you know, yeah, mate, yeah, mate, yeah, you know, yeah, like dinosaurs, yeah, trains pretty cool as well. Yeah, shout out to Nan as well. It's my Nan's birthday. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Like, we love him, but I just think when you look at the way that this dude fights, the run that he's been on recently, the injuries, the time off, all that type of stuff, I think this is a really nasty, bad matchup for the UFC, trying to get Gene Silva up to the top of the division. Why? They love him. They love the fighting nerds. I personally, I'm no longer really a fan of Gene Silva. There's a lot of reasons, but one of them is just he's an annoying, like, he just annoys me. His just personality fucking annoys me. I just know he's a fucking nightmare to be around. So I hope Arnold Allen beats the fuck out of him, but I think Gene Silva's going to win, and I think Arnold Allen's going to end up like number 10, number 9 in the division, kind of in that doom spot in the weight class, kind of in that Calvin Kattar, you're ranked number 6 for life type of guy, you know? Next one to discuss, bantamweight division. I only have 2 left, and this is one that I'm a little bit more, I do think it's going to happen, and I'm not necessarily mad about it. Raul Rosas Jr. Now, this is my theory on Raul Rosas Jr. I think the UFC is trying really hard to make this happen. The UFC, God bless them, they are trying their absolute hardest to make this dude happen. And there's funny moments for Raul Rosas Jr. The Chiwiwis really took off at one point in 2024, but I'm just have to be objective from the outside looking in. I know there's a lot of Mexican dude, this guy's gonna be the fucking champion, dude. What are you fucking talking about, bro? You're a fucking casual, dude. Dude, Raul Rosas Jr. is gonna be the fucking champ, bro. He's fucking better than John Jones was, bro. Seriously, dude. He's only 20, bro. I know the Mexican casuals fucking love this kid, but dude, let me just be objective from the outside looking in, dude. Sean O'Malley was getting this exact same treatment. He was finishing everybody. Malcolm Wellmaker was getting this exact same treatment. He was finishing everybody. Peyton Talbot was getting this exact same treatment. He was finishing everybody. Raul Rosas Jr. is decisioning everybody that he's fighting, basically. I think he has 1 submission, maybe 2 submissions against the bottom of the barrel at bantamweight. And now, after these wins against such, you know, historic names as Vince Morales and Jay Perrin, and some other dude, at the Sphere. He's going to probably get Rob Font, who's number 11 in the division. He's probably going to get somebody like that in the top 15. And I'm sorry, I don't think he beats Rob Font based on what I've seen. I think Rob Font stuffs this dude's takedowns, survives on the bottom, gets back up, pieces him up on the feet, and wins a 29-28 decision. That, to me, seems very likely. That not only will Raul Rosas Jr. get given a ranked opponent, despite not really having any, super good wins on his resume, not even a guy that was like, at one point was something in the division, nothing along those lines that you could even have said for maybe a Paddy Pimblett. Like, okay, Jared Gordon fight was a bit of a robbery, but you still beat him. And Jared Gordon was on the verge of the rankings. Okay, we'll give you a ranked opponent. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even do that for Raul Rosas Jr. So I think that he's going to get a ranked opponent. I think he's going to lose. And I think his stock is going to drop a little bit. There's going to be a big switch up on him. But yeah, dude, that is my pick for the bantamweight division. I also worry for Davison Figueiredo, but I mean, Umar Nurmagomedov, that's not going to drop your stock too much, so I won't put him here. The last one to discuss in the flyweight division, and I kind of feel bad for this guy. I know some people are going to be happy when this happens. I feel bad for Amir Albazo, dude. Amir Albazo kind of gets too much hate in my opinion. I know that he had the robbery win over Kai Kara France, and we were all kind of mad at Amir Albazi. I remember dropping a rant video about this dude when he beat Kai Kara France, but with time and maturity, I kind of realized, like, first of all, it's not his fault that the judges are fucking stupid. Like, that it's not his fault. He's allowed to celebrate winning a close fight against Kai Kara France. Number two, we don't even like Kai Kara France anymore, so it's actually not even that bad that he robbed him. And number three, it's like, people call out this guy a million times more than they call out Manel Kape for pulling out of fights, for canceled fights, whatever it is. They call out all these people, but they won't call out some others. Manel Kape pulls out of fights because he's missing weight and he's got fucking tits. Amir Albazi has fucking life-threatening health conditions and people are making fun of him for pulling out of fights. If you look into why he has pulled out of a lot of his fights, a lot of it has to do with very serious health issues. And I understand that all we care about at the end of the day as fight fans is the fights that happen and the fighters that are fighting. I get it, bro. I'm not saying you have to fucking DM Amir Albazi, oh my God, I'm so sorry for hating on you. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, like, Amir Albazi has had these huge layoffs due to very serious conditions and very serious concerns. And I feel like because he's a boring wrestling fucker, he doesn't get the same respect. Like Manel Kape can do arguably worse, which is just being fat and missing weight constantly and ruining main events. And because he comes back and has a crazy knockout, we just forget about it. We love him. Same with Paulo Costa. He's another guy. All he has to do is show up one time and people love him again. But Amir Albazi, I do think he's going to fall off this year, dude. He's ranked number 5. He got absolutely demolished by Brandon Moreno. That's not really aging that well, to be honest. I think that Kyoji Horiguchi, again, is going to put belt to us, dude. Kyoji Horiguchi is whooping the fuck out of these dudes. And Amir Albazi, you are next. You're getting whooped by Kyoji Horiguchi in the Apex. I truly believed it, bro. And then I think Amir Albazi is going to get some really fucked matchups coming up. I think he's going to get thrown in there again with like a fucking Tim Elliott or a fucking, get fraud checked by Tim Elliott or, dude, Charles Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fight I could really see happening. Charles Johnson beats Alex Perez. This guy loses to Kyoji Horiguchi. Charles Johnson chins this little dude. I really feel like he's going to go on a downfall in 2026. But these are my predictions for the fighters that I think are going to have a downfall this year. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Who are you rooting against? Who do you, believe in? Who am I wrong about? Let me know all that shit in the comments down below. Make sure you guys drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter because I do have some big updates coming out on my Instagram. Like, bro, I just want to, like, there's something crazy happening this week for me. So stay tuned because you will hear about it. And I think you guys are going to be really excited about it. All right, man. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Goodbye.